Coming in at number 10, we've got Vengeance. Bane has been a mainstay in the Batman universe for years. Making many appearances in plenty of different forms, this super strong mask-wearing baddie is widely credited with being the only villain to properly break Batman, both physically and mentally. That's a tall order, especially considering how tough Batman usually is in both these categories. Whether we're looking at Tom Hardy's portrayal or maybe the Bane in Infinite Crisis, he uses his superior intelligence, willpower, and brute strength to bring his plans to fruition. So, of course, his offspring would be similarly powerful, with plenty to offer the stories of Arkham. Enter Vengeance, Bane's wiry, wildly powerful daughter. Appearing first in The Joker #2, she appears to be looking to kill the clown prince of crime after a heinous attack that came to be known as the A-Day Joker gas attack. This chemical killing spree took out all sorts of folks in Arkham Asylum, and the friends and family of these famous villains were none too happy. Vengeance, living up to her name, has decided that she will be the one to exact revenge upon Joker, and heads out to find him. Just as strong as her father in pretty much all capacities, there isn't much that would stop her from completing her mission. In fact, she single-handedly wipes out an armed personal army while hunting for the green-haired menace. There is one little thing though. Joker claims he didn't pull off the gas attack. Chilling in Belize, Joker is unsure who would do such a thing, but says it definitely wasn't him. So this progeny of Bane, also apparently born in a lab, fueled by rage and powerful muscles, is on a bit of a wild goose chase. Even if she kills the Joker, she won't have the revenge she imagined. Plus, there's always the other mission of finding out who actually managed to gas Arkham Asylum. Vengeance is a straightforward and deadly force and should be a lot of fun to follow as things develop. Coming in number 9, we've got Clown Hunter. Another fanatical Joker hater, Clown Hunter gets his name from his goal. Pretty straightforward, eh? He wants Joker dead, and he wants to ensure this is done by his hands. Clown Hunter, aka Bao Fam. He hunts clowns. Why though? What would drive a young man to committing his life to killing a clown? Sure, Joker's done plenty of heinous things in his lifetime, but that's almost a given of living in Arkham City. Wouldn't most people like to figure out a way to live productive lives, even with the chaos turning in the background? Well, things are personal when it comes to Clown Hunter and his supposed prey. As a child, he witnessed Joker kill his parents in cold blood and then run off cackling into the night, as Joker tends to do, of course. With this traumatic experience, Clown Hunter was committed to a life of hating Joker. He also came to believe that Batman simply wasn't doing enough to deal with this moron society. Joker kept killing innocent people and was always allowed to live afterwards. Even if he were to be imprisoned, restrained, or otherwise removed from society, he'd make his return in one way or another. So Clown Hunter decided that Joker needed to die. Batman was too lax with him, and so were the rest of the crime fighters in Arkham. Armed with a batarang-tipped baseball bat, Clown Hunter killed something like a dozen of Joker's henchmen and even planned on killing Harley Quinn. Somehow, someway, Batman sniffs this out and attempts to reason with the kid. This doesn't stop another vigilante getting involved and encouraging Clown Hunter down the path of violence though. Coming in at number 8, we've got FLATLINE. Another character named after what they do, FLATLINE will stop your heart from beating. She'll do it in a particularly gruesome way, too. Known for ripping people's hearts out barehanded, she's a legendary martial artist with a brutal streak. Hell, she even did it to Robin during what can only be described as a Mortal Kombat tournament. Interestingly enough, the rules of the tournament allowed Robin to be resurrected, but that's neither here nor there. After training all her life under some of the world's finest martial artists, she was ready to bring her own story. Heading to the island to win a tournament that was said to grant immortality, she stood head and shoulders above the rest of the combatants. Appearing as an ashen-skinned woman with an affinity for black skeleton-themed clothing, she doesn't seem like the type to mercilessly kill countless top-tier fighters, but she does it anyway and does so with a smile.
Number 7. Master Wise. While Miracle Molly and Squeak might have been more prominently featured in the latest issues of Batman as we've come to know the Unsanity Collective, Master Wise is in essence their leader. The Unsanity Collective is all about exposing and reversing the sanity of Gotham, including the sanity its members see in everyday people who they see as kinda being sheep, not questioning the status quo, and even in vigilantes. I mean, probably especially in vigilantes. Vigilantes are pretty insane, I think we can all agree. Master Wise and the Unsanity Collective give those who seek to join them a fresh start and clear mind by seemingly removing their history and previous memories. By seemingly removing their history and memories of their previous life, allowing them to take up a new identity as an active member of the collective, which is kinda like a commune, who as a group take care of one another.
Number 6. The Talon and the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls seems to be part of Matt Reeves' upcoming Batman flick in one way or another, so we'd figure we'd get you you caught up to them right now. They were created by Scott Snyder as this new secret society that uses architecture and violence to gain political influence over time. My two favorite things. Nice, they go together. They appear for the first time in Batman Volume 2 Issue 2 when Bruce announces plans to rebuild Gotham for the better. The court can't have this happen, so he's sentenced to death, with the Talon setting his sights on Bruce. The Talon attempts to take out Bruce atop Wayne Tower while he was meeting with politician Lincoln March. Batman investigates and finds that these guys have been around for quite some time. He discovers that the Court of Owls had secret headquarters and hidden rooms in every single building established by the Alan Wayne Trust. So Bruce remembers back when he was a child, and he believes that the Court of Owls are in fact responsible for his parents this whole time. The Talon is an assassin named William Cobb. He proudly claims to have taken out several members of the Wayne family. Do you think the Talon will make an appearance in the new Batman movie? I'm not gonna lie, we see the Riddler in the trailer for Matt Reeves' Batman, but it does kind of look like the Talon a little bit. I don't know, we could be getting fooled. We also see an owl on the Riddler's card, so maybe we're just getting more than we think.
Number 5. Madame Midas. Madame Midas is known for being the richest woman on the earth and appears to be covered head to toe in gold. At least that's what it looks like to me in the comics. She's very shiny. A criminal and supervillain, she is an arch nemesis of Ghostmaker's, who is prominently featured in his own flashback stories included in the last few issues of the current 2016 Batman series, starting in issue 107. Madame Midas is the current big bad he is up against and looking to take Ghostmaker down in the story, which had its penultimate chapter in issue 111 of Batman, and will have its conclusion told in Batman's 2021 annual issue in November, which I'm super hyped for. Madame Midas awaits Ghostmaker at the top of her tower on a secluded island that he has infiltrated. She has brought together his former enemies as her last line of defense, and in hopes to learn of a way to defeat him. But so far, it's not looking very good for Madame Midas, as Ghostmaker seems to be a step ahead of her at every turn. And friends, before we move on to the next spot, if you are loving this video and you want more Batman videos, which honestly Batman is so good right now, I'd love to talk more about Batman, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up.
Number 4. Red Tool. Wayne Wilkins, Red Tool. This sounds familiar already. Okay. Red Tool made his first appearance in Harley Quinn Volume 2. When Wayne first met Harley, it was love at first sniff. Yeah, Harley was under the influence of these berries that make anybody who smell her fall dearly in love with her. Red Tool also isn't the only one falling under that spell. So what does he do? He fights everybody else who has. He even loses an arm and becomes a cripple during this. He's kind of seen as a joke villain. Obviously he's similar to Deadpool in design and character, but he's actually pretty badass. At one point, Red Tool kidnaps Harley at a roller derby match using sleep gas and then takes her to the top of a Ferris wheel because, romance. Up there he explains his origin story to Harley, but she's not interested yet. She gets home and sees that he's left her his number and a red hammer. This number is a message explaining that she has to meet him at a local church where he's of course kidnapped enough members for a wedding, which obviously doesn't go well.
Coming in at number 3, we've got Squeak. A member of the fascinating new group, the Unsanity Collective, Squeak is but a child. Following in the footsteps of Miracle Molly, she is a cybernetically enhanced human with a lot of spunk and gusto. This group is constantly targeted by the Magistrate, who are looking to scapegoat some organizations in their mission to create a police state. Squeak makes for a fun sidekick and a very sympathetic character. She's just trying to make it in a world that is very cold and unkind. And when Peacekeeper 01 and the Magistrate show up to take out Miracle Molly, she's caught in the crossfire. This interplay creates some very hard decisions for Batman and his allies, and leads the story in fascinating directions. While she's not the most powerful or influential character, a lot of the story moving forward hinges on this pink-haired individual. Coming in at number 2, we've got Miracle Molly. Searching for a way to live life beyond the means of what most would consider sane, this green-haired so-called criminal founded the Unsanity Collective. A group meant to allow civilians to live their lives without the weight of their past trauma, it develops technology that flies in the face of the Magistrate. Molly is the brains behind the operation, building and distributing gadgets and tools to all of her followers. Although their goals are noble, they go about their plans in ways deemed unacceptable by the powers that be, which causes a whole lot of problems, as you might imagine. However, Batman infiltrates the collective to find out more and discovers how genuine and committed Miracle Molly is. Although their actions are criminal, their hearts are in the right place. The Magistrate and in turn Peacekeepers don't like this. An enemy of an enemy becomes a friend, and Batman joins the fight in an unpredictable way thanks to the influence of Miracle Molly. And finally at number 1, we've got Ghostmaker. Oh damn. This vigilante trained with pretty much all of the same people Batman trained with and rivaled the Cape Crusader all throughout his life. There is one major difference, however. Ghostmaker is willing to kill. In fact, sometimes Ghostmaker believes that killing is sort of an art form while fighting crime. He's all about the art when it comes to dealing with criminal elements, which is a very interesting way to go about it. His values clash with the Bat's quite often, spurring on many fights between the two. However, when a bigger threat emerges, it becomes clear that the two vigilantes must team up or be defeated.
Number 10. Green Lantern MULLEIN. Sojourner Joe MULLEIN is the Green Lantern who first appeared in DC's Young Animals imprint comic, Far Sector. She was created by the amazing science fiction and fantasy writer N.K. Jemisin and mind-blowing artist Jamal Campbell. Joe is a Green Lantern who is unique in the sense that she wasn't traditionally chosen to be a lantern, and the ring she is given is not inherently as powerful as your typical Green Lantern ring, but in some ways it can actually be seen as more powerful. Most Green Lantern rings require a battery to charge them, but Joe's is actually self-charging. Now, this is useful when she ends up designated to an area so far out in space she doesn't really need to be near any batteries. However, it should be noted that because it is self-charging, Joe has to be more conscientious when it comes to how she uses her power, as it is possible for her to completely deplete her power stores and be left without power during a time of crisis when she is forced to wait for her ring to recharge itself. MULLEIN has quickly become one of my favorite lanterns. She made her first appearance in November of 2019. Number 9. Batman. This version of Batman is Jace Fox, initially known as Timothy Fox or Tim Fox, the son of longtime Batman ally Lucius Fox. However, Timothy prefers to be called Jace now. While Timothy Fox has actually been around in the comics since the New Earth continuity, and I believe came out in the late 70s, this version of the character as a future Batman who prefers to be called Jace is actually pretty new to us. He first appeared as Batman's replacement during our glimpse into Future State, appearing in DC Nation Presents DC Future State issue number 1 for the first time, at least within the Future State continuity. But Jace has also appeared in the main Prime Earth continuity as well, first appearing there in Batman issue 101, the volume that started back in 2016 and is still successfully ongoing since. Jace, like Bruce Wayne's Batman, is just a highly skilled and trained human who takes up the mantle of Batman in Future State after Batman goes missing and is basically presumed to possibly be dead. Jace Fox was created initially back in the 70s by Len Wein and Irv Novick, but was revived recently in Future State: The Next Batman by writer John Ridley. He first reappeared in the Future State continuity in January of 2020. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more lists like it where we tell you about some of the best, newest heroes coming your way, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. Bolt. Bolt has an untimely ending in Future State where she is a forced recruit of Amanda Waller's Suicide Squad. But fortunately, in the Prime Earth continuity, events have gone a bit differently for her. She made a deal with Amanda Waller after losing her legs to join the Suicide Squad later on in her life in exchange for those super cool prosthetics. But when it came time for Alinta, aka Bolt, to uphold her end of the bargain, she refused. She had joined the Teen Titans Academy and wanted to remain as a hero as opposed to joining Amanda Waller's Task Force X. In the main continuity, Bolt avoids capture and gets to remain a Titan in training. This is also where she gets her codename of Bolt from the Titans Academy. Bolt is an interesting character as, while tapped into the Speed Force as a speedster, she has no other connection or affiliation to the Speed Force family. That is, you know, the Allen or West family. Alinta was created by Robbie Thompson and Javier Fernandez and first appeared in January 2020 in DC Nation Presents DC Future State issue number 1. In that continuity, later appearing in the Prime Earth continuity in Infinite Frontier issue number 0.
Coming in at number 7, we've got Punchline. From Flatline to Punchline, we've got a fun little segment here. These two characters don't share much besides suffixes though. Punchline is something like a Harley Quinn stand-in, although there is more to her than that. After Joker and Harley had another one of their famous arguments, they split. This time it seemed pretty permanent, so Joker looked for a new second in command. In this search, he found Alexis K. She dons the requisite clown makeup, but isn't really one for jokes. Cold, cruel, and exacting, she is somewhat of a Harley inverse. In preparation for the Joker War, she oversaw the stealing of Batman's funds from offshore accounts. She beat up Harley Quinn and stabbed Catwoman, leaving her for dead. Holy moly, she really is all business. Coming in at number 6, we've got Simon Saint. What's a good story without an esoteric billionaire calling the shots from the shadows? There's always room for more well-moneyed lunatics causing doom and gloom, especially in the era we're all living in. I'm sure there's no real-world comparisons to be made here. No way. Simon Saint is a man with a plan, and that plan is to introduce a fascist police force to the city that he would have total control over. Sure, he's trying to sell it as a partnership to Mayor Nakano, but we all know who the real leader would be. Saint Industries wants to kickstart this militaristic police force known as the Magistrate, complete with robotic officers known as peacekeepers and remote drones to keep people in line. All under the guise of making sure everyone is safe, right? To really sell this idea to the mayor and the public, Saint secretly employs some folks to put fear into the heart of every civilian. A very familiar scaremonger shows up to help too, which is never a good sign. Coming in at number 5, we've got Peacekeeper 01. Let's quickly dive into this private army Simon Saint seems to be putting together for a second. There will be plenty of nameless, faceless automatons forcing the people of the city into line, but there's also got to be some extra special leaders, right? For that, there's Peacekeeper 01, one of the first sheriffs sent up by the Magistrate. This one in particular is a wicked strong augmented human, one who Batman readers have indeed met before. Does the name Sean Mahoney ring a bell? He was once a guard at Arkham Asylum, and a brutal one at that. But for a while there was no way for him to get back to work. He was the one who discovered the dead body of Bane, killed by Joker gas, and also went back to rescue some nurses, losing limbs in the process. However, Simon Saint offered him a whole new life with some prosthetic limbs to boot. All he has to do is lead the all-powerful Magistrate police force in their mission to totally take over the city. Who's gonna say no to an offer like that? Coming in at number 4, we've got the Gardener. Much more dangerous than her name suggests, this green-thumbed villain has roots deep within Batman's lore. Introduced as an eco-terrorist who will do anything to keep the world as green as possible. If doing so requires the use of weird plant-animal hybrids and destructive attacks upon important areas, so be it. Interestingly enough, this villain has connections to another plant-based Batman rival. You guessed it, the Gardener has a history with poison ivy. In fact, the two dated in college. Imagine that. These photosynthesis enthusiasts have quite a lot in common. Add in the fact that the Gardener knows about Poison Ivy's transformation that will make her into Queen Ivy, and you've got a very interesting new addition.
Number 3, Flatline. Flatline is a tricky one to nail down when it comes to her alignment. She isn't really a hero, but she isn't really like a straight up baddie either. Sure, she's been the sidekick of the villain Lord Deathman, but she reads to me as kind of ambivalent to the whole idea of, you know, like good versus evil. I don't think she really subscribes to either ideology, but she also does run with a generally good guy most of the times, Damian Wayne, which means that if I had to place her anywhere on the spectrum, I'd be more likely to classify her currently as an anti-hero. Or, you know, like an anti-hero sidekick maybe? I don't know. She is known for being Damian Wayne's love interest. Her powers allow her to adopt the skills, or at least a portion of the skills, of anyone who she kills or who is basically near her when they die. She first appeared in Detective Comics in issue 1034 in March 2021. Number 2, Jay Nakamura. While not technically a superhero yet, Jay has been revealed to at least have superpowers, and he's dating a superhero, so it seems likely that Jay may soon become a superhero himself. He made his first appearance in Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 2. Jay is an online media reporter who runs a journalistic website called The Truth, and already uses a codename as part of that group and site. His codename is Gossamer, which is fitting since his powers actually revolve around intangibility and invisibility. He can phase through things and can make himself appear at least partially invisible. Jay first appeared in DC in August of 2021. Number 1, Dreamer. The first transgender superhero on television who recently made her way to the pages of DC Comics. Nia Nal is a superhero character who first appeared in Supergirl Season 4, Episode Number 1, American Alien. She is based off of DC's Dream Girl, Nura Nal, and is also depicted as being Nura's ancestor. Nia Nal was created by Robert Rovner and Jessica Keller for the Supergirl live-action CW series. Her powers come from her Naltorian ancestry, being half Naltorian and half human. She can travel through dreams to get to someone, teleporting in essence to a person through their dreams, and can also manipulate one's dreams as well as astral project and project energy too. She is also a seer of sorts. Dreamer made her first appearance in the comics in the DC Pride 2022 special in June of 2022.
Number 10, Liar Liar. Emma Duropoulos. Okay, this chick is badass right off the hop. She first appeared in Wonder Woman 759. She's the long-lost daughter of Maxwell Lord, and growing up, Emma's mother Susan kept the fact that her father was still alive from her. Now, she did find out eventually, but her mother insisted that he died of cancer, never even telling Emma his real name. And on top of that, Emma was growing into her powers, and her mother also ignored those. She didn't believe that she had powers until one day Emma showed her an up-close look at them. She made her mother collide with an oncoming truck, and sadly Emma was the only survivor. Next step was to break her father out of jail and earn his trust by, of course, helping him take down Wonder Woman. Emma used her psychic wave manipulation powers and combined them with Maxwell Lord's previous passion project, a weapon called Odysseus. So now Emma can cause any user to hallucinate. Her dad even makes fun of her for this, calling her a child, some sort of millennial superhero joke, I guess, I don't know. I mean, she almost blasted off a nuke in Arizona, so you better watch your mouth, Maxwell. Number 9. Synmar Utopica. First appearing in Superman issue 25 just last year in Mythological Part 1, the Synmar are an alien species who witnessed the destruction of Krypton. In fact, they saw young Kal-El zipping through space, and they discussed the possibility of intercepting. They're like, who is this kid? Where is he heading? Earth? What's on Earth? There's nothing there. Yeah, apparently we're too primitive to be part of their defense registrar, which is neat. I didn't know this was a roast. Awesome. So cut 2 years later, Clark has grown up. Now the Synmar, still watching from the cosmic bushes, they decide, you know what, they need to elect their own leader to go toe-to-toe with Superman if need be. Enter Eisno Alcor, a soldier for the Synmar. He showed promise, so they chose him to be their weapon against the Kryptonian. That was their original intention for the young soldier. But Superman was deemed a hero on Earth, so the Synmar thought, maybe we should just chill out. He's clearly doing a good job. We'll keep an eye on him though still, but for sure he's not a threat. So they decided, let's just send Eisno out to do other stuff regardless. Deal, sounds good. Eventually Eisno got back from a mission and there was this big celebration, a big party, but he finally asked his superior why he's the only hero on his home world. And President Dredd finally explained that he was initially picked to fight Superman, but he turned out to be a protector, so we just used him instead for other missions in the galaxy. So Eisno is feeling confused. He's like, Superman, who is this guy? What? So he leaves the party, he's deep in thought, then all of a sudden, while he's busy being sad in the cornfield, all of his friends and crew are attacked back at the party. So he gets back, everybody's toast, and there's pics of Superman all around. So now he has a reason to attack Superman. You gotta love those super misunderstandings. Always a good one. Before we continue on with this list, you know the drill. If you want to go ahead and hit that like button, it helps us out quite a bit here at the studio, and then in turn, we can bring some nerdy news back into your eyes and soul. So hit that like button, and then we can bring you some good stuff. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the list.
Number 6. Wonder Woman / Girl. Wonder Girl. You know? Yara Flor is our future state Wonder Woman. When Diana gets a glimpse into the possible future in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 7, it is Yara who she sees carrying on the mantle of Wonder Woman. Yara is not an Amazon from Themyscira. Instead, she is an Amazon of the Amazon rainforests of Brazil, being from a different tribe basically than Diana is, but still an Amazon. In the future state reality, Yara was considered to be a demigod. Yara Flor's Wonder Woman initially appeared in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 7 in January of 2021. She was created by Joelle Jones and would later be incorporated into the main continuity of Prime Earth and get a short-lived comic series all her own titled Wonder Girl, which takes place prior to Yara becoming Wonder Woman. Although now what happened in Future State is questionable, as some things have already changed, meaning that exact potential future likely won't come to pass. But you know, Yara could still end up as Wonder Woman at some point. I would believe it. Number 5. Dee Dee. Dee Dee was a short-lived hero who appeared as a new Gotham City siren during Future State. With everything up in the air in regards to how the world will evolve and develop and which parts of the potential future that is Future State will get incorporated into the narrative, I don't actually know if we'll ever see Dee Dee again. But she was a pretty cool character and a great addition to the Gotham City Sirens. While not always the most heroic group, here the Femme Fatales were actually doing good in this story. Dee Dee was an android who first appeared in Future State The Next Batman issue number 2 in the Gotham City Sirens story within there. Dee Dee joined up with Catwoman and Poison Ivy in an attempt to take down and expose her creator, Dax Dilton, which could both save the world and help the Resistance, who stand against the oppressive magistrate in this world. Dee Dee made her first appearance in January 2021. Number 4. Swamp Thing. While Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, once known as scientist Alec Holland, is the most well-known Swamp Thing, he's not the only one to have taken up the mantle and role of the Avatar of the Green. We actually have a new Swamp Thing in the comics as of Infinite Frontier issue number 0. This is Levi Kamai from India, who developed a connection to the Green and became its new young avatar. He shares similar powers to Swamp Thing Alec Holland before him, but is still getting a handle on these newfound abilities. He was created by Ram V and Mike Perkins. Levi made his first appearance in the comics in March of 2021.
Number 3. The Signal. Duke Thomas entered DC Comics not too recently, but back in 2013 in Batman Volume 2, Issue 21. He lost his parents at a young age, similar to Batman, but he lost his to the Joker. So he joined and then led the We Are Robin movement. That's when hundreds of teens took on the Robin mantle, sporting the capital R, and took to the streets while Batman was absent. Nice movement, awesome. Now Duke left this movement because he was eventually recruited to train under Batman himself and joined the fam. Not a bad upgrade. Now Duke, aka the Signal, is a member of the newly reformed Outsider teams being led by Black Lightning. His father was the villain Nomon, but before his birth, his mother Elaine ran for it to Gotham in order to get away from Nomon. She became a social worker and then married a man named Doug Thomas, who wasn't a supervillain. Nice. They both raised Duke in Gotham Narrows. Later on, when the Riddler was challenging the city, he asked all these citizens to bring forth a riddle that even he can't solve, and then only then will he turn the power back on in the city. So Duke was ready for this. He was smart, he was ready to go, but Batman respected that, but he also ended up just taking on the Riddler himself. Since 0 Year, Duke goes by the alias Lark simply because he doesn't want Batman to repeat the past failures with the Robin mantle. It's almost cursed, I don't blame him. He also fights crime during the day, which, yeah, crime happens during the day too. This guy's great, we definitely need him on the streets. And finally, number 1, Astrid Arkham. Making her first appearance with Detective Comics issue 1000, Astrid Arkham, like her name hints, was born in Arkham Asylum. Both of her parents were doctors working there at the time, and her mother, Ingrid, was loved in the asylum, even by the Joker. She's like the cool cafeteria lady, everyone loves her, you know? Her father, Jeremiah Arkham, was a descendant of Arkham Asylum's founder, Amadeus Arkham, so they were kind of a big deal there. When Ingrid was pregnant with Astrid, the timing couldn't have been worse, however, as a riot began in the prison. It was nice to see because at this point, all these supervillains were protecting Ingrid while she went into labor. I'm talking Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, the Joker, Solomon Grundy, Clayface, they were all keeping her safe. After she gave birth, a rogue Batarang slipped by, and that was sadly the last we saw of Ingrid. Now her father had to raise the child alone, meaning she had to be homeschooled in the asylum, meaning her only friends were inmates. But they felt like they owed her mother the kindness at least, so it wasn't a scary thing. She grew up hating Batman, of course, but that hatred grew even more once Astrid found footage of that fateful birthday. After that, she became a skilled fighter, started a cult called the Knights of the Sun, and went after the one who threw said cursed Batarang. Eventually, she called herself the Arkham Knight. Kicking off the list at number 10. Harley Sin. Constance Brand, aka Harley Sin, is the daughter of a billionaire, so you already know she's going to be trouble. Harley Sin first came around in 2016, making her first appearance back in Gang of Harleys issue 1. First of all, the look of Harley Sin, I'm here for it. She's got that Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe, she's a badass. The second issue, titled Hit 'Em Where It Hurts, we see the tattooed badass punk put in some work. She meets Harley Quinn, and during a fun little introduction panel, we see Sin say the words, "I'm the person that's going to be killing each and every one of your useless gang." So right off the hop, she's kind of a big deal. I don't know, she's in a bad mood. So this rich billionaire father I mentioned earlier, yeah, Harley Sin's father in fact is believed to be Donald Trump, or at least he was drawn and characterized to resemble him. That plus the tattoos, drug addictions, and lust for violence, you got yourselves quite the villain. And before we move on to number 9, make sure if you guys haven't done so already to go ahead and click that like button. It helps us out a bunch here at the studio, and it's this one, not this one. Unless you're a Spider-Man, then maybe it's that one. Go ahead and click that one.
Number 9. GRAIL. GRAIL is the villainous daughter of Darkseid and basically acts as an opposing force to Wonder Woman. The two women were born at exactly the same time, and it was prophesied that GRAIL, the daughter of Darkseid, and Myrna would bring about much destruction. As such, she was almost killed as soon as she was born, but her mother protected her. She proved almost right away in the comics that she was a new villain worthy of our time when she made easy work of the Justice League. She and Diana ended up facing off shortly thereafter, but their fight was interrupted. However, they would continue to clash during the Darkseid War, and likely will keep doing so, as GRAIL was basically designed to be the perfect foil for Wonder Woman. GRAIL was first introduced in Justice League Volume 2, Issue 40.
And number 8. Godspeed. August Hart, aka Godspeed, made his first debut not too long ago in The Flash Rebirth Volume 2, Issue 1. With a name like Godspeed, one can only assume the powers in which they'll contain. Super speed, which is also my favorite superpower on the low. Created by Joshua Williamson and Carmine Di Giandomenico, sorry if I butchered that name, I tried 7 times. Godspeed stands out from the rest of the speedsters because of one badass reason. He can separate speedsters from the Speed Force. Now, if you watch the CW's Arrowverse, you know what I'm talking about already. August Hart was also a detective, a former partner of Barry Allen, to be frank. And then along comes a Force Storm in Central City, and all of a sudden you have these godlike powers. Pretty ideal powers for a hero, and also a villain. That's right, as you would have guessed by clicking this video, he doubles as a villain on the low. So he became the Flash's partner while secretly becoming Godspeed the villain. Not cool, dude. Why'd the villain move though? Well, when August's brother was murdered by a criminal, he was released due to insubstantial evidence. So August decides to confront the Black Hole organization after they had stolen property from Star Labs. He sees their symbol that resembles one at his brother's crime scene. Interesting. So while confronting him, that's when the Speed Force lightning strikes. I feel like if I was a speedster, I would just be like Quicksilver, right? Hang out in the basement, play some stolen video games. Is it really that hard to just chill out? I know you're angry, but like, it's all good. Speed walk it off. Number 7. Tommy MAXX. First appearing in Red Hood Outlaw issue 51 titled Minutes from Downtown Gotham, Tommy is a Batman rogue that doubles as a sneakerhead. That's right, fashion never felt so badass before. Thomas Measle makes his fortune selling shoe lines based off popular DC villains. His Poison Ivy line was just dazzling the ladies, of course. And no, he didn't make Killer Crocs either. I already checked, I thought of that too. He did, however, use Killer Croc as his own personal bodyguard after freeing him from jail. I think I'm a fan of Tommy because I too worked at a shoe store years back. I'm not nearly as cool as him though. I'm like, oh, 11 and a half? You got it, man. Be right back. Number 6. Frost King. Edwald Olafsson first entered comics in Justice League Endless Winter Chapter 1. He's a newer character, and as you could probably guess, he is a giant frost beast. I'm trying really hard not to say frost giant, clearly. His story begins thousands of years earlier, back in the day when you fought with Black Adam, Viking Prince, and Swamp Thing. But he ended up getting buried for 1,000 years in the same glacier that later on became the Fortress of Solitude. Poor guy was just stuck on the walls while everybody was watching Game of Thrones. He's probably so bored. Eventually the fortress was destroyed and the Frost King was released, this time with a hint of Kryptonian energy, which is always fun. Number 5. The Designer. So we mentioned that sneakerhead of Gotham, so it's only fair to bring up this class act next. Appearing for the first time in Batman Volume 3 issue 89 in April 2020, the Designer was this masked criminal who at the age of 60 had earned himself legendary status for being able to plan and execute so many master plans. He was killing it. He also created this chemical that allowed him to use corpses to move around and carry out said master plans. He's got zombie backup, that's cool, I guess. Early on in Batman's career, the Designer would watch Batman take down all these rogues, so he approached them. He talked to them all. He talked to Catwoman, the Joker, Penguin, and the Riddler. They all met at his hideout just outside of Gotham City, and he offered them way better plans. And when it came down to the Joker's desires, well, the Joker wanted his job. He wanted to take his place. So the Designer ordered that undead army to attack, but Joker shot him and supposedly ended his life. Now cut to Batman Volume 3, issue 85, the Designer returns, only Batman finds out that it's just, you guessed it, a corpse being controlled by the Joker. Everyone's using corpses to fight battles, it's gross. Imagine the smell. Number 4, Sideways. Derek James, aka Sideways, came into comics back in his own series in 2018. He was in Gotham with his adoptive mother Helen when Challenger's Mountain returned from the dark multiverse. So the following earthquake split the two up, leaving Derek to fall into the ground, right into a rift into the multiverse. 4 days passed and then Derek was finally able to return, but the question was, how? Derek obtained the ability to teleport through dimensions. He does so by creating tears in space-time. He can literally open the door to a new universe. After a month of having this power, his friend Ernestine made him a costume, cause, you know, of course. And in his first live stream as the hero Sideways, he took on the Tempest Fugonaut, who was upset because Derek was toying with space-time, which, I mean, it's more than fair. Number 2, the Batman who laughs. Bruce Wayne, but from Earth 22, is a touch different than the one that we know best. The Dark Universe is a very special and very vast place filled with alternate versions of characters, but one of the most notable has to be the Batman who laughs. Making his first appearance in Dark Days, the casting, this Bruce Wayne has, well, of course, similar origins that we're familiar with. Parents were murdered, became a crime-fighting bat, protects Gotham, all the good stuff. But this Joker changed his path up. Joker began murdering everybody in Gotham. He bombed a hospital and then shot the parents of the kids. Like, he's twisted, and he's also dying at the same time. He's dying from the chemicals that made him become the Joker in the first place. So of course he wanted to take everybody out with him. So when Batman stepped in and killed him by breaking his neck, the toxins from the Joker were inhaled by poor Batsy, causing this to happen. So a day later, he's joined by Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin, who were training in the Batcave, and then Batman then shot all of them. And then this is just the beginning. This insane clown Batsy is terrifying and entertaining in all of the right ways.
Number 9. Icon. Icon is not a living organic character, but is an AI character who was created by Ghostmaker. Icon was created to help Ghostmaker and sometimes act as his moral compass or even kind of his survival instincts, as Ghostmaker is a psychopath who as such is completely fearless, meaning that he often struggles with both of these important emotional components and traits. Icon acts similarly to Tony Stark's AI in the MCU, Jarvis, and helps Ghostmaker with calculation, strategy, and perspective on missions. Also, for those of you that are like, Jarvis is actually Tony Stark's butler in the comics, yes, I also know that too, but in the MCU, it's an AI. Icon also appears as a little blue ghost emote like the ghost emoji on your phone or little ghosties seen in Pac-Man. Basically, I'm a big Icon fan. Every time there's more Ghostmaker stories, I'm like, this character is great. More Ghostmaker, more Icon.
Number 8. The Underbroker. Making his first appearance in Batman Volume 3, Issue 92, just last August, the Underbroker, aka Harlan Graves, he was a senior partner at the firm Graves, Willock, and Crane. Harlan's job was to run a financial institute for criminals. He runs a bank for evil guys, so you know he's gonna be dressed to the nines. He's brilliant. I mean, the guy should have gone into crypto. He takes all these crooks, he takes their money, and then he transfers it and hides it in all these hedge funds, literally in the richest pockets. He's managed to keep this business a secret from Batman, but when Catwoman caught up to him, she asked if he wanted his safe numbers said out loud in front of others. He says no, and then she asks again if he wants Batman sniffing around the underbrokerage, and he repeats no, but he offers to make her rich if she spared him. How do you resist that? Come on. I wonder if he can settle my student loans. Might have to take a trip into the Gotham sewers, see what's up.
Number 7. Perpetua. Perpetua is an old evil, but one that we didn't know of in the comics until 2018 when she was first introduced in Justice League Volume 4, Issue 8. Perpetua quickly became known as one of the greatest evils the universe, or multiverse really, had ever known. She was the creator basically of all things and the mother to the Anti-Monitor, World Forger, and Over-Monitor. Billions of years ago, she was betrayed by her own children and trapped in the Source Wall along with her devastating and deadly creatures, the Apex Predators, a vicious combination of Martians and humans. Yeah, she really old. Perpetua was the one ultimately responsible for the crisis in the DC universe, as it was her whisperings from within the Source Wall that brought them about. The energy allowed her prison to weaken, cracking a little more each time there was a crisis, which was how Perpetua planned to escape. She was eventually freed when the Source Wall broke as a result of Barbatos and the Batman Who Laughs actions, allowing her to once more wreak havoc on the world and earn back her power so she might rebuild the universe again in her own horrifying image.
Number 6. The Kindred. Making its first appearance in the Multiversity Guidebook number 1, the Kindred is this cosmic force that appeared after the Rebirth event. Created by Grant Morrison, the Kindred is a 4-part entity, and they each represent DC lore, so those 4 being the Speed Force, Magic, Cosmic Power, and Emotional Light Spectrum. So they have a handle on pretty much any angle out there. Now, this is a villain list, so this is bad news for us, or rather bad news for pretty much any world. For starters, they take all of the energy from living creatures. That's how they come together. Nice, teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. Also tears. So off the bat, these guys are just OP. I love the look of these celestial gods though. They each have like their own color. Even if Brian Hitch wrote them into his run with the Justice League, with destruction being the driving force, this is still kind of a villain that even I'll root for. I said it, sue me, what's up? Number 4, Eradicator 2. With that name alone, oh boy, you already know what's coming. The Eradicator 2 was created, of course, after DC's Rebirth with the absence of the original Eradicator. Another big bad version was bound to show up. I mean, we expected it. So of course, this is the newer version of Eradicator from the 80s comics. But the best part is that he still has the 80s look. He's got the retro, badass glasses, which are such a nice touch, by the way. Just by looking at this guy, you can tell he's the coolest. Created by General Zod, this AI ended up taking on the physicalities of Superman, hence the everything about him. So when this badass AI is close to a yellow sun, he gets powered up real good. I'm talking the usual super strength, stamina, flight, speed, and he's basically invincible. A cool but scary power that he also obtains is that of energy manipulation, because he's made of course, pure energy. ERADICATOR wasn't used too much, but I feel like ERADICATOR 2, since his first new appearance in Superman Volume 4 Issue 2, at the very end we see his rebirth, and it's beautiful. Once the Kryptonian gene is detected back on the Fortress of Solitude, energy forms all around the room. There's an ID badge, some glasses, and then bam, all this mixed into one. You get this bright pop, and his opening line being, "We are here, we will save you too, Kal-El." And it's sick. He's like basically Terminator with a cape. He's got the look, there's this energy coming from him. I would love to see this guy go head to head with Henry Cavill. I mean, maybe we'll get more of a dark alternate version with the Snyder cut of the Justice League, but fine, that'll have to do in the meantime. For now.
Number 3. Mayor Nakano. Mayor Nakano was once one of the few honest members of the Gotham City Police Department. Prior to becoming mayor, he was a police officer on the GCPD force, but after the events of Joker War was elected as mayor of Gotham. Mayor Nakano is very important considering that he is the mayor of Gotham and ultimately decides on many policies and programs that could affect the city. He detests masks of any kind, seeing both vigilantes and villains as threats to Gotham and its citizens' safety. Due to the machinations of Simon Saint and Scarecrow, he ended up being pressured into initiating the Magistrate program of Saint Industries, which we know is a road that could potentially lead to a militarized city-state-like cyberpunk-esque future that we saw for Gotham in Future State. I mean, I guess you know that if you read Future State, which if you haven't read any of the Future State stuff, go read some of it. It was pretty cool. Also, the colors are really nice, I just gotta say.
Number 2. Astrid Arkham. Making her first appearance with Detective Comics number 1000, Astrid Arkham was born in, well, Arkham Asylum. Both of her parents were doctors working there. Her mother, Ingrid Carlson, was loved in the asylum, even by the Joker. Her father, Jeremiah Arkham, was a descendant of Arkham Asylum's founder, Amadeus Arkham. So they were Arkham OGs. Now, when Ingrid was pregnant with Astrid, a riot popped off in usual Arkham form. An amazing moment to see here, weirdly, because all these supervillains were now protecting Ingrid while she went into labor. I'm talking Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, the Joker, Solomon Grundy, and Clayface. What a moment. Now, right after she gave birth, a rogue Batarang slipped by, and that was sadly the last of Ingrid. So now her father had to raise the child alone. She was homeschooled in Arkham and even became friends with all of these inmates. They felt like they owed her mother their kindness at least. She grew up hating Batman, of course, but that hatred grew even more once Astrid found footage of her fateful birthday. From that point on, she trained herself into a skilled fighter, started a cult called the Knights of the Sun, and went after the one who threw said cursed Batarang, eventually calling herself the Arkham Knight.
Number 1. Jace. Tim Fox is the brother to Luke, Tam, and Tiffany Fox, as well as the son of Lucius and Tanya Fox. Tim is a new character in the sense that he's been reinvented and reintroduced in the Prime Earth continuity, first appearing in the current run of Batman's issue 101 in 2020. But he also has been around in the New Earth continuity since 1979, so new but also old. However, in the previous continuity he would be introduced and then seemingly forgotten for a lengthy period of time before being brought back near the end of that continuity, making one more appearance right before New 52 came in and brought us the Prime Earth continuity. It would then take 9 more years before Tim would be remembered and brought back again in 2020, and we'd also learn as we peered into an alternate future in Future State that Tim now went by the name Jace and was seemingly destined to become the new Batman after Bruce, which makes him pretty important. If you want to learn more about how and why Jace became Batman, some recommended reading would be The Next Batman and Dark Detective from Future State. And if you want to watch him potentially become Batman or become more Batman-like, you can check out the Prime Earth continuity series, The Next Batman, Second Son, and the upcoming I Am Batman, which as of this reading is currently on issue number 0, but issue number 1 is coming soon. And those are both by John Ridley, so pretty cool reads, I think.